Hello, my name is Shayla, and today I am going to be discussing a cultural trend, the unexpected surge in comic book sales, and how comic book collecting, which many believed was a dying hobby, is actually being revived by old heroes. We've witnessed something unexpected in the past few years. Just when expectations were that physical comic books would be replaced by digital media, movies, and streaming services, comic books are actually making a huge resurgence. As fans sought out stories that provided escape and connection, this trend started to pick up speed during the pandemic and persisted. From 2021 and onward, comic book stores have reported record sales, and collectors who have previously drifted away have come back in search of the characters that influenced their early years. This trend is happening everywhere. Small comic book shops, online marketplaces, conventions, and even major publishing imprints are relaunching classic heroes. First, we see this trend in an explosive success of the absolute Batman editions. These oversized hardcover reprints of major Batman storylines are flying off the shelves. Batman may be wearing his same costume that everyone's used to, but the series is 10 times more gruesome, intense, and action-packed. Artists leave readers with jaw-dropping and shocking art that anyone in their right mind are hungry to flip to with the next page. Fans who've grown up with the Bat can now adjust to a more mature comic to love, while the new fans can be introduced to this hero with a fresh look. They're expensive, premium, and intentionally collector-friendly. The popularity of these editions show that people aren't just reading Batman, but they're investing in physical experiences of owning the story they already love. Now, secondly, this trend shows up in the Ultimate Spider-Man relaunch. Marvel rebooted its Ultimate Universe storyline, giving Spider-Man a fresh storyline focused on family dynamics. Even though Spider-Man has been rebooted countless times with new love interests, villains, and powers, it hasn't really been very well received over the past years, as its glory days in the 80s or 90s. This relaunch, focusing on Peter Parker's family, sold out almost instantly nationwide. The character designs are simply visually stunning, and the fights give the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man a brand new twist. Fans weren't just buying new comics, they're buying a renewed version of a hero they grew up with. Third, we see this trend in the return of the Transformers comics, one of my favorites. Modern reboots and reprints of the early 80s and 90s Transformers are selling extremely well. This franchise taps into pure nostalgia for people who grew up with the Autobots and Decepticons long before their blockbuster films. This year, new comics take on old icons and blend them with updated storytelling. With popping and delicious visuals from artists like Mike Spicer or George Corona, the comics were bound for popularity. This revival of comics were in the hands of publisher Robert Kirkman, who grew up with the original Transformers comics and the show and was an adoring fan. It's said that Kirkman was one of the only kids who cried at the theater when Optimus Prime died in the 1986 Transformers the movie. It's not a spoiler, it's been out for many years. These three examples show a clear pattern that this trend is driven by nostalgia, premium editions, and exciting art illustrations. They reveal something larger about contemporary culture. The resurgence of physical comic books demonstrate a renewed desire for stability, connection, and shared narratives during an uncertain social era. The return of characters like Batman, Spider-Man, and Transformers is not only entertainment, it reflects on how society wants to revisit familiar icons to navigate present-day anxieties. Nostalgia in this context operates more than a sentimental feeling. It functions as a cultural anchor. Researchers have observed this pattern beyond comics. According to Reynolds in the Journal of Graphic Novels and Comics, nostalgia-driven media consumption often strengthens emotional grounding and reinforces a sense of belonging during this period of social disruption. This research helps us explain why collectors gravitate towards heroes from earlier decades. Now, these stories provide a continuity at this time in which many long-standing structures, technology, communication, and even community are shifting rapidly. This revival also influences how storytelling evolves. As publishers release new interpretations of iconic heroes, audience engage with the characters in deeper ways. The Absolute Batman editions emphasize cinematic art and mature themes, showing how familiar narratives can be reimagined without abandoning their original identity. The Ultimate Spider-Man relaunch reframes Peter Parker with a family-centered narrative, allowing a hero known for quips and agility to embody responsibility and new cultural movement. Meanwhile, the return of Transformers showed how franchise can honor their origins while expanding their mythologies for modern readers. These developments demonstrate that cultural community and innovation can coexist. The broader consequence is that comic industry becomes an active record of integrational imagination. When long-standing franchises return with new visual styles, formats, and storytelling priorities, they create shared reference points between older and younger audiences. However, this resurgence also carries a little risk. As corporations recognize the financial value of nostalgia, there's a lot of potential for over-commercialization that prioritizes the brand's familiarity over artistic experimentation. The strength of this cultural revival depends on whether creators can balance tradition with creative risk. Ultimately, the interest comics signals that society still values tangible storytelling and iconic heroes. These books offer more than just entertainment. They preserve a collective myth-making tradition that continues to shape identity, memory, and imagination. The return of these stories show that cultural heritage remains influential and worth protecting as new generations discover the narratives that are once defined earlier ones.